Hey guys, thank you for joining us for episode 3 of the Mind Game. We're just waiting for Rakhil to join us. Waiting. Here he is. Hey,
Hey, how you doing, Fahad?
not too bad, Rakhil. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
Easy enough to connect, yes?
Yeah. Learn something new every day, right?
Brilliant. So we're just waiting a couple of minutes until we have a couple more people joining us. We should
Perfect.
be able to start in a while.
Lovely.
Um, when has the weather affected you at all today?
It's so I made a really big mistake. I'll show you.
Let's see.
I think I might get shot later on, but so this is my little balcony where I work out. So I've got
Right.
my bike all covered up, but unfortunately there's a puddle of water and my dumbbells are sitting in them. So I'm gonna have to clean that up in a bit.
Hmm. Terrible. I'm sure there are CrossFit Puritans out there like, what the hell, Rakhil? Why have you done that?
Yeah, I
Hey,
think I probably
Udara.
exposed myself a little bit too much there.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So while people are joining us, we'll tell you that the Mind Game is, of course, brought to you by Marmite, in addition to Fitski. So Marmite is enriched with vitamins B that plays a vital role in maintaining good health and well-being. So it helps produce red blood cells, helps to improve cardiovascular health, and helps to reduce fatigue and stress. All of those things, someone who's number 20 in Sri Lanka in terms of being a CrossFitter would know something about.
Yeah, it's you either love it or hate it, and I do love it.
So what we're going to do, Rakhil, today is we're going to have a quick chat regarding the mental aspects of this entire thing. Of course, dealing with all of this stuff that we're all dealing with in this entire process, being here, with COVID and stuff like that. So a couple of things that I want to start by asking you is that staying home for the past 5 weeks or so has been enormously mentally taxing, right? How
Absolutely.
have you dealt with it?
So, I think the first couple of days I went crazy. I ate every bit of junk food I could get my hands on. Uh, I have two little girls at home, so I have three bosses or three CEOs telling me what to do. It was interesting. I think you're afraid, you're not sure how long this is going to last, and then you start thinking, okay, this is what it is. What am I going to do about it? Very much like CrossFit, right? You kind of have to have a plan and figure out what you're going to do. So I didn't have any weights or anything at home, so it was burpees and push-ups and sit-ups, which get really boring very quickly. But thanks to again Faster, they really hooked me up, got me a couple of dumbbells, and away I went. As that continued, I started looking at, okay, what else can I do? So I have a racing bike. Uh, can't exactly go cycling during curfew, so pulled out a bike trainer, set it up, and kind of made the most of it. I think you're either going to have this mindset of, oh my God, the world is ending, or you're going to say, okay, this is what it is. Now, what am I going to do with all this spare time? And it's been a blessing. I've spent time with my wife, quality time together. We've watched a bunch of movies. I've done more jigsaw puzzles than I think I've ever done in my life with the girls. Tried my hand at art, painting turtles and other fun things. I think it's about facing up to, what you can control and what you can't control.
You mentioned the thing because like a lot of people and my friend Udara Kotwal, I think is your friend as well. He's
Yep,
probably watching this right now.
absolutely.
You know how crazy CrossFitters are in terms of the workout. Like it's almost like a drug. And most people who are Fitski, clients and Fitski users, because Fitski is the premier fitness app, they struggle with the fact that now I can't go out and work out anymore. I need to do it at home. And that adjustment period is kind of hard. And you find some people are like, screw this, man, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to wait until this passes. Or some people who find ways to make it work. So what you're saying is you found lots of different things to do to find some way to make it work.
Yeah, I think you've got to be creative, right? The beauty about CrossFit is preparing for the unknown. So, CrossFit Salon have been amazing. Coach Andy Andrews kind of comes up with creative ways to torture you every morning. So what they did was, Andy started dropping workout posts that you could do at home every day, whether you had equipment or not. Stuff a backpack full of things, which adds to weight. I've used my kids for shoulder presses. It's a bit of fun, and I think the biggest thing about it is how do you keep that community engaged, right? Especially for myself, that's the one thing I really miss about working out at CrossFit Salon. It's the community, working out with the guys, the high fives, the inside jokes that you drop at each other. Hi, Shahan. It's also about the sense of, okay, mutual suffering, right? Very, very similar. When you're working out at home, it's very easy to take your foot off the gas and not hold yourself accountable and say, okay, I don't feel like doing this today. But I think with technology available, we've done workouts on Zoom, WhatsApp chats, you're messaging each other saying, hey, I did this great workout today, why don't you try it out? You're maintaining that form of connection. So it's not just about the content, it's not just about the connection, but it's also about the collaboration and making sure that you can communicate with each other.
So from there, I just want to move it in, Rakhil, a little bit to work, because, with Hirdaramani, of course, one of the largest apparel manufacturers in the country, how did you deal with this thing of, having so many employees, team members, so many dependents all around you in this stage of uncertainty? Like, that's got to be taking a massive mental toll.
It's frightening, right? But I think we've been through it before. We had the Easter attacks last year. We faced riots, curfew. We had bombs going off in Sri Lanka. So this is just another battle we had to face together. I have to say, we have an amazing team at Hirdaramani. The IT team, the finance team pivoted really fast, got us up and running online in a number of days. Within the first 5 days of curfew, we were already communicating and collaborating. And because we partnered with Microsoft several years ago, a lot of our services are on the cloud. So technically we could work from anywhere. And these conversations have been going on for a while. So the front office team, the frontline guys, they were able to be in touch within minutes. So we're very lucky that way. The harder part was obviously having the factories closed, and that's a major challenge. I'm very happy to say, we're getting back to some semblance of normalcy on productivity now. It's still a long way to go, but any steps forward is progress, right? And I think that's the mindset we try to keep. But it is difficult, and I think the only way to support the teams and support each other is to have that mutual understanding that everyone's going through something, but if you're not willing to walk in someone else's shoes, then really should they be doing it? So, we've every single team member is now back. We are going to the factories together and having those conversations. I think the one thing COVID-19 has reminded me personally is, I think we've taken humanity for granted. It's very easy to pick up a phone, in your humdrum routine. It's no one's fault, and say, hey, how's that delivery going? What are you doing now? Is that project ready? I think now we're becoming a little bit more careful and considerate, and taking that time to first ask, hey, how are you? How's your family? Is everyone safe? Are you okay? And I actually think that's a beautiful thing. It's teaching us manners again, like we learned in kindergarten.
Yep. So on that point, right, where you mentioned linking back to CrossFit, it's those high fives, mutual suffering, doing it together, and then you come back to a work setting. A lot of people can assume, like when you look at across a hierarchy of an organization, no matter how flat it is, they might assume, the managers are in a better position than us, or the directors are in a better position than us, and we're going to take the brunt of this. How do you, harness that sense of community and togetherness, in a sense of, playing the mind game where you say, we are in this together. I'm here for you. We're here for you as an organization, as a person. How do you get about doing that in terms of communicating it to people?
I think it's very easy to send a corporate memo, right? I don't necessarily think it has impact. I think the impact really comes from when you're present, you're seen, and you're visible. And that's why we felt going out to the factories, being there with the teams, walking the production lines was incredibly important. I think the only way you can show it is by doing it yourself. So, we've put in all the safety procedures, we go through it together, and it's important to just have conversations. I don't think you're going to create trust implicitly just by making a statement or pretending to be magnanimous. It's about walking the talk and being present, being available, and being consistent, rather than just sending messages down from an ivory tower.
So I know a lot of people during this time, or even before this time, have tried to embark on new things, right? Because relatively, we can say this is the first half of the year, and a lot of people are still fresh in terms of, I'm going to try to start this new thing, whether it's a workout routine or it's a business or something like that. And similarly with Hirdaramani, like you guys are on the cusp or in the process of working with more sustainable avenues instead of just the traditional ways of doing business. And when something like this happens, it almost takes away the progress, takes you back a couple of notches. Like if you're slowly trying to inch forward, the world just decides, no, you got to take about 10 steps back. So the question is, in terms of you're striving to make progress, but then for things beyond your control, your progress gets nullified. As a businessman, as a competitor, as a human being, how do you deal with that? Because it's not any fault of your own.
Well, I think it's very easy to blame the world and be negative about things. But if it's not beyond your control, if it's beyond your control, what can you do about it? It's irrelevant. I think the only thing you can do is focus on how you do control your business, what you can do out of it. We've still maintained our sustainability. We're still pushing to move forward on that. We still value our associates, and it's how we pivot. We've moved into producing face masks. We continue to innovate with the apparel we produce for our customers. We've started digitizing our supply chain and digitizing our shop floor with technology. So even in a downturn like this, it's the initial shock factor. We were able to recoup, connect, whether it was online or offline, in person, during the curfews, and plot out, okay, what are we going to do? We may not be able to have a 3-year plan, but what are we going to do for the next 7 days, next 21 days, 30 days? And it's that taking that million mile march and breaking it into smaller steps that you can achieve on a daily basis. And if you achieve those daily goals, that's a job well done for the day, right? And those are wins you have to celebrate with a team and communicate it and build that. And success grooms success, right? It breeds success. So how do we start being more considerate in the way we operate, and also looking at maybe the micro for a change? I mean, it is a tough time. We've had to take some radical steps in the company. But as per our values, our team comes first. We have to make sure we protect that. The next phase is, okay, how do we go out, work with our customers, and restart? It's a pause, and it's a strategic pause, right? It's not one that we determined, but we've been able to harness some great creativity for our central services, our finance and IT. I don't think we're going to have a full team back in the office full time ever again. We've just accelerated digital trends. What we would have done in 2 years or 3 years has happened in 60 days, which Hey, I think that's a great piece of work to celebrate.
Of course. You mentioned the point of pivoting and figuring it out, and even in a workout sense, you see all of these things that were popping up online. So, for example, if I take Fitsky as an example, in the 7 weeks of lockdown, there were over 4,000 bookings. Now, these were people who decided to use an app that they'd normally not use to work out. Over the past 7 weeks, decided, okay, I'm going to try this, right? And that is something amazing. So what has Udara said? He said, grant us the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Yes, I saw that in a movie today as well, that quote.
He tends to say that just before a workout as well.
So Rakhil, on this point of it's great because there's lots of good advice going around for a lot of people, but
Yep.
as Homo sapiens, as human beings, we're emotional, and there are days that we feel like, oh man, I know all of these things, I know it's going to pass, I know I need to work hard, I know there are people around me, but man, I just don't feel it. And sometimes that aspect can be overpoweringly causing this colossal feeling of dread, and basically you're feeling shit despite
Absolutely.
knowing all of these things. Do you go through it? How do you cope with it? How do you
Very much so.
deal with other people who you encounter who are dealing with it?
It's a mixed bag, right? And I think it's constantly reminding. One part is constantly reminding yourself. It happens because you've got all this nervous energy, and I think I'm very fortunate. I have an amazing partner at home, my wife Aradna, and when we speak, we've come to COVID's brought us even closer together because we start talking about the concerns each of us has, the fear, the worry, when will this end, and it helps to hear that, hey, I'm not alone in this. So if you don't have someone at home that you can talk to, pick up the phone, call a friend. Message me. I'm always available. But I've realized you kind of have to understand yourself and learn yourself a little bit, right? Sleep is a massive proponent of that. If I don't get enough sleep, I know I'm more cranky. I know I'm more nervous, and I have all this anxiety. I also know that if I don't exercise in the morning, I take that nervous energy into the office, and that's destructive. It's not helping anyone because everyone feeds off each other's energy. So how do you stay positive, and how do you start looking for the good in things? And I know if I have a bad workout, it carries with me through the day. My wife tends to remind me about that. But no, I mean, for me, it's building a routine and finding a way through it. So I know I need a minimum of 20 to 30 minutes in the morning to get my heart rate up. It gets my endorphins going. I need my cup of coffee at 10 o'clock, and then I can really get into work and deep work. I also know that I need to laugh. So spending time with the kids, joking, laughing, it makes you feel better and kind of gets rid of that stress, right? My little 4-year-old, when she gives me a hug before I leave for the office, it makes you feel like Superman. There's nothing you can complain about. And you don't want to let them down. So you have this feeling of responsibility, which is the way I like to look at it.
The comment from Various365 did the correct thing by acknowledging the wife, especially in this lockdown situation. I'm sure Rakhil did it of his own volition. So to everyone who's just joining us, a couple of things. We're just talking to the wonderful Rakhil Hirdaramani, a CrossFitter, director of Hirdaramani, one of Sri Lanka's largest apparel manufacturers, and of course an all-around ace human being. This session is brought to you, of course, by none other than Sri Lanka's premier fitness app Fitsky. So Rakhil was talking about routine a little while ago, and for those of you who are finding it tough to get to a gym because obviously we're under curfew, this app is something that you can definitely use. So they're running over 40 online fitness classes covering yoga, Zumba, cardio, bodyweight workouts, everything. And even after curfew passes, if you want to get back to a gym, you don't have to pay full membership. You can, just go trial a couple of gyms because it's like a pay-per-visit, pay-per-minute model. Rakhil, on this aspect of CrossFit, I'm just going to go back and forth with it. You're constantly pushing yourself, right? In terms of weights,
Absolutely.
in terms of reps, and you're constantly pushing. What are ways you think people can find to push themselves in restrictive situations? Like, say, for example, a basic restriction is that how often you can head out is restricted. What you can do when you head out is restricted. But still, what are the ways in which that they can push themselves?
Wow, tough question. Do you mean from a workout perspective or just
and not just that, but if we take a human being, working out is one, work is one, self-actualization is one. So we have different aspects, right? So feel free to answer across the board.
Okay, so I love the analogy of CrossFit because I think it works very well. The first thing is have a plan, right? We have different types of workouts and WODs in CrossFit. Some are heavy weights, some are more metabolic or metcons. All of them hurt. So, by stepping out or starting to work out, whatever workout you do, it is going to hurt you. It just depends in what way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of my favorites is 21-15-9 of thrusters and burpees. It's horrible, right? And I know I'm going to quit. I quit 10 times in my head before I even start the workout. But it comes down to saying, okay, if I come out too hot out of the gate and try and blitz through those 21 as quickly as possible, I'm going to hurt myself and I'm not going to be able to last the round. So what I'm basically saying is start with a plan. Before we have limited hours to even step out to go supermarketing, right? Or to the pharmacy right now. So if I have to go to work, I have maybe an hour and a half to get to the supermarket, get to the pharmacy, and then get home. So how am I going to do this? Okay, maybe I need a plan for that. Maybe I need a list. All right, I know I'm going to the same supermarket all the time. How am I going to hit that? I know which aisle has what. Maybe I need to be ultra focused on what I need to get and walk out because I know I need to get to my next stop. And it's coming up with a plan, and it's also ensuring that, okay, it's okay not to get everything today. Maybe some of the things are unrealistic. I'll pick it up tomorrow. So it's okay to fail and accept that you will fail sometimes. I have a dream of hitting a 300-pound squat. Everyone seems to be laughing at that. And I'm still not there. I haven't touched a heavy barbell in months now. I'm not going to get there for a very long time. But does that mean I should stop trying? No. I need to now come up with a new plan of how I'm going to get there. So you need to be able to pivot on a dime, stay confident, and, reach out and talk to people and sound yourself out.
I think you have a fan in Dinika who is just basic out here. Rakhil, start.
So Dinika is someone we work out with. So I'll pay him back later.
I've known Dinika from school, long time. So question in terms of this thing about being realistic, you said even with your 300 pounds, the realistic nature that people are kind of polarized with personal development during this curfew time. There were some people like full on, online courses and this and that, all of these things. And there were some people like, this is not a competition, just chill out. You're trying to survive a pandemic. What's your position on that? Is every opportunity an opportunity to grow, or is it okay to sometimes take it easy? If so, for how long? What's your perspective?
I think you need to do what's right for you. I started off, listening to, I think, a Zoom call or 3 Zoom calls a day initially because there wasn't anything happening. And yes, you were trying to figure out what you want to do during this time and be a better person. Hey, maybe I'll start meditation. That lasted 1 day. But it's about what you're passionate about. And if you're going back into the workforce and it's going to cause you stress, you're going to be burning the candle at both ends. I think it's personally fine to take a pause. For me, if I take a pause, I know I get very lethargic. I know my immunity drops. I know I get cranky and I don't function well. So I used it to focus on the workouts that I avoid at the gym, because I kind of said, well, this is the only time I can do this, and I'm never going to look at a dumbbell or a burpee again. So I might as well do it for as long as I can.
That was an interesting point where you said take a pause, because I don't think a lot of people are conscious about the pauses they take, right? It's just reaction. I feel lethargic right now, so I'm just going to chill and watch a movie type of thing. But we have the choice of taking pauses consciously in a way that's regulated. Is that what you're saying?
I think it's more about, you need to understand your body. And once you start understanding the way your body works, you understand the way you work. If you're a night owl and you prefer working at night, is that wrong? Not really. If you know that spending too much time on conferences gives you more anxiety, is it the right thing to do? Probably not. So it's about, I've seen the hundreds of posts on LinkedIn talking about, if you don't come out of this pandemic with a skill or something, you're a bad person. Is that really motivating to anyone? No. To some, it may be a challenge which you want to pursue and say, yes, that's what I want to do. But to others, that may be adding on more pressure. And is that fair on your mental health and mental well-being? I think that's more detrimental. So I try and stay away from the preaching. It's what's right for you, man. And I think you either want to be an overachiever or you want to get by. And either way is perfectly fine. It's how you're wired, and it's your DNA, and no one should be able to judge you either way.
Excellent. Rakhil, a quick question about adjustment, because maybe there are people who feel like human beings are notoriously bad at adjusting. And sometimes right now, after about 7 weeks of being indoors, people have adjusted to that lifestyle, and now they're expected to get back to real life. So a lot of the things that they used to do in real life are now different now. Do you have any steps that you take mentally in terms of adjusting to a new method of working, or a new challenge, or a new precedent? What are your thoughts on adjustment mentality?
When I find out, I'll have to let you know. I'm struggling with that right now. We've been back in the office for 2 weeks, and I'm typically an early bird. I like to wake up between 4:30 and 5 in the morning. I haven't done that for a couple of months now, and I'm finding it hard to reset. What I do know is it takes 21 days to build a habit, but it's 21 consistent days. It's not about 5 days on, 2 days off. So I know what I need to do. It's how badly I want to do it is a struggle. And I think we're still in this state of limbo right now, and I know I'm gonna have to get back to the real reality come Monday, and I know it means getting back into bed by 9:30, 10. Whether or not it happens, I guess I'll have to keep you posted, Fahad.
So I guess this next question that I have to ask, because you have 2 little girls at home as well, like you'll be going back to work, but as I understand, kids are not going to be going back to school anytime soon. So there are different channels that are normalizing at different rates, and usually the parents are the one who have to manage all of these things. So just like that, for everybody else, there are multiple channels that they need to manage. As a leader of a business, as a person who's running a family, all of these things. What are your prioritization tools that you use in terms of what gets your attention when and how much?
So this is the longest I've been at home, I think, in 15 years. No overseas travel, no work. And 60 days on the trot, being at home with the family is kind of unheard of for me. So I think it's made me realize that I haven't spent as much time with Aradhana and the kids as I should have. I do have to correct one thing. My wife Aradhana runs the family. I just she is the CEO at home. But
You just happen to work there.
absolutely. And no, in all seriousness, I don't think moms get enough of a shout out, because dads kind of slide in and do the fun things and kind of disappear right back into the office. A lot of the times, not stereotyping, but you know, Aradhana does the homeschooling for two girls, deals with you know, the tantrums, and I get to go cuddle the kids and tuck them into bed. So who's a lucky one? But it is. I think we, like you said, with COVID-19, we are seeing a reset of priorities as well, right? And that whole challenge of work-life balance becomes an interesting one. So, you know, I think you have 24 hours in the day. And a lot of us understand that there are 24 hours in the day. I don't think we comprehend how much of that we waste just sitting around or on the phone or just wandering around in our days. So I think it's taught me I need to be a little bit more proactive at home, spend more time with the kids. So, you know, breakfast in the mornings, and definitely in the evenings when I get home from work. And you just need to shift some of those priorities. It means going to the gym every day, I hope. But I guess not spending 3 hours there like I used to do.
So with all the things you've been saying, I'm noticing that you've had lots of little perspective shifts and changes with new experience. What's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself over the past 60 days? Biggest new thing you've learned about yourself?
That I'm actually a pretty positive person, but I think I let my frustration out before processing, and it's
interesting.
And it's actually been a real paradigm shift for me, because I think I have a hot temper. I flare up. I don't mean anything by it, but I think it's really taught me how you react makes the world of a difference. And you know, it's not mindfulness, but it's more awareness about yourself and figuring out what you need to do and to stay happy, what you need to do to keep your family happy. And what you need to do for work. So, you know, you wear different hats as an individual, and ditto with friendships, right? So, how do you want to treat people, and how do you want people to treat you? And I think it's heightened my awareness on that. And I mean, with all the press we've seen, people are frustrated, people are stressed, and it's kind of taken tension to an elevated level that it's never been before. And when you're cooped up in a house for 60 days, you know, you can go a little stir crazy. So what do you need to do to break the monotony? I mean, my daughter, you know, celebrated her 7th birthday in lockdown. Now, you know, for an adult, missing a party isn't a big deal, but for a child, it is. So, you know, she's been amazing. She's been a trooper. Never showed any frustration, but how do you then get creative? So, you know, Aradhana and I, we designed a treasure hunt, a scavenger hunt around the house, and we had a lot of fun with it. So what are we going to do with each other? And it's about being, like I said, coming back to the creativity, but also the sense of connection. People want to be loved. People want to be cared about. So I'm hoping coming out of this time, we're going to kind of do that for everyone.
Sounds exciting.
Absolutely.
So this aspect, I'm just going to bring it back a bit to the working out part. So as a regular person who works out, sometimes working out at home gets a bit tough because you get absorbed into different things, right? What has been your approach to sort of, on the days you've been sticking to the routine, to stick to it, and on the days you haven't, sort of create that resolve to say, I'm going to get back to this, in terms of prioritizing well-being with your life?
Well, I mean, I've been working out now for a bunch of years, so it's kind of inherent, right? If I don't work out, I know I feel incomplete. I think I'm really blessed. I have a great group of co-founders at CrossFit Salon, and we have a great bunch of guys that work out together, and we're on WhatsApp on a regular basis. So Dimitri, one of my co-founders, Sharia, Shehan, Hassan, we start messaging each other stupid workouts that we do with each other, and it's really inspirational. And now it's starting to grow organically. I mean, I've been having a bit of fun on Instagram, throwing my workouts up just for the fun of it, and it's been great because I'm getting a lot of interaction back where we're cracking jokes with each other. Friends and family members are dropping their ideas for a workout back at me. Theirs hurt a little bit more, so obviously I'm not pushing myself as much, but it's really solid.
So for those of you who don't have amazing friends on WhatsApp groups to give you workouts, you can by all means download the Fitski app, available on the Play Store and the iStore both. So then you don't need those friends. You can just use the app, right? That'll be good for you.
That takes away the sense of community, but I understand where you're going with that.
So to anyone who's just joined us, feel free to throw in your questions, Rakhil. This session is a short, intense session. We're just going to be winding up in a couple of minutes. So this is the Mind Game, brought to you by Fitski, Sri Lanka's premier fitness app, and of course by Marmite. Marmite is enriched with vitamin B. It plays a vital role in maintaining good health and well-being, right? So it helps in energy-yielding cell metabolism by turning carbohydrates into energy, and you're going to need a lot of those coming out of, of course, ladies and gentlemen, with over 4,000 bookings in the past 7 weeks, Fitski, Sri Lanka's premier fitness app, is the place that you need to go to if you want to just work out at home while you're chilling and not stepping out of your house, right? So any questions that you have for the amazing Mr. Rakhil Hirdaramani, by all means, pop them over here. I'm just going to ask Rakhil, there are some of us who have a sense of privilege, maybe with a sense of a financial cushion, with a sense of community, with a sense of family. And there are some of us who aren't so lucky in terms of those parameters. To someone who might be struggling across the board, or to some of us who might know people like that, what do you say to them in terms of keeping their nose above the water, keeping their chin up?
It's a difficult one, and I think it's a very sombering point, Fahad. I don't think it's going to get any easier in the short term, being brutally honest. But we're hoping, there's always better days to come. I think that's the only thought I can really put out there. We are starting to see some opportunities come out, especially in Sri Lanka. The pivot to online services has been nothing short of phenomenal. I know there is still a shortage of drivers and supply chain there, but like you said, I think we're very blessed. We're very lucky. I know I am, and it's how can we support each other at this time? How do we be creative? And I think as I live in an apartment building, and I think as a community, we've been trying to share as much as we can in our communities around us. There is a limitation. I think we always can do more as individuals. So it's not about the power of one, it's about the power of many. So my call out would be, if all of us just chip in that little bit, I'm sure we can make a difference.
Excellent. Love that sentiment. Not the power of one, the power of many. Question from Saroj. Any other sport you want to try out other than CrossFit in the near future?
So, growing up in Sri Lanka, I used to love water skiing. So, I really want to try waterboarding and see how that goes.
Well, when you say waterboarding...
Not the torture, thank you. But try on the equivalent of a snowboard on water.
Okay.
So that's something I'm dying to try. I haven't built up my confidence to do that. It's been a while, so hoping we can get out to the beach sooner rather than later. Hopefully,
fingers crossed. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Mind Game organized by the wonderful folks at Fitski. We've had an interesting conversation with Rakhil over here, giving us a range of insight, along with how he's discovered a lot of things about himself over the past 60 days being
Absolutely.
in lockdown and figuring out different ways to get back to business. If you could give someone a piece of advice in terms of mental resolve, like, have this mental tool in terms of constantly looking at problems or negative situations that arise, because you said you're an optimistic person, right? What would that angle be?
Probably, just to step away from the problem for a little while and come back at it again. Because when you're fresh, when you're energized, you're probably going to see things you didn't see initially. If you look at the problem from a 300 or a 3-foot view, you're not going to see the big picture. And taking that step up to that 35,000 feet sometimes lets you understand the impact, and maybe that problem isn't as big as you thought it was.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, Rakhil, I think we have one more thing to do.
Sure.
Move the camera around, find your best angle, because we're going to take a screenshot for a picture.
Right, there we go.
Ready? Brilliant.
Done.
All right,
Thank you so much.
Before we go, we have a question. One second. We're going to answer one more question. How do you suggest we get back on track from 60 days of Netflix and chill back to hardcore, stressful work life? We'll close with that question. What do you think, Rakhil?
Get back on it, 150 burpees per time, and it'll teach you a lot about yourself.
Excellent. 150 burpees at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Mind Game brought to you by Fitski. If you don't have the app yet, download it on Play Store and the App Store. It's available. A range of workouts available for you. Of course, thank you very much to Marmite, our sponsors as well. Thank you very much, Rakhil, for the insights. It's been amazing indeed. And everybody who's tuned in, thanks so much. Wait up for episode 4. We'll let you know when it's happening. Until then, take care and be safe. See ya.
Superb. Thank you. Bye.